Alrighty, let's get this underway. I probably should have started this camera a bit, but there we go. G'day, Stu from UAV Futures. Welcome to the FPV Mix live stream where we just get together, talk all things FPV, answer some of your questions. You notice the comments are down below, so make sure you fill them up. And we're just going to hang around for a while, answer your questions, talk FPV, and generally just have some fun. But first things first, what we need to do before we kick this live stream off is let me know how the sound is going, or all that sort of stuff, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. I don't want to sit here rambling at myself for 20 minutes before someone tells me, Stuart, the sound's not working. So, give me thumbs up or something like that if the sound is working. Let me get some of these windows up and double check these things, and then we can see big D FPVs in there. Shout out to everybody who's tuning in to the stream. Let me know what you're thinking of it too. This kind of daily streams at 12 o'clock. Audio 5x5, we're in the pipe. 10 points if you can tell me where that reference is from, and hopefully I'm quoting that correctly. Gap Tooth Granny 5x5 as well. I love it. So, unless I have the wrong idea of where that reference is from, but I think it's one of my favorite movies. Anyway, radio. So we're going to jump straight in. Ramble yourself for 20 minutes. Isn't that normal for you, Stu? Yeah, you'd be right. But normally, I'm looking for some sort of interaction of like that. At least you can hear me. But if I was just doing, I don't ramble to myself in the mirror if I'm not recording a video or something like that. So anyway, let's kick it off. And remember, if you need to ask me a question, please, we want me to read something out on stream. We got a video for me to check out. Whatever it's going to be, try and tag me with the little @ UAV Futures symbol, because it pops my name up in orange and it makes it so much easier for me to be able to read that. So I wonder if I can show you that on the screen and why that is so important. Bear with me. Let's put this here, and so you can see just, it's not going to show. Oh, here we go on the side. So check this out. This is what it looks like when you tag me with @ UAV Futures. You can see these little bits. It makes it a lot easier for me to read those questions. So if you could do that, if you're asking me a question, we'll get on to answering some of these as well. It makes it a lot easier. And of course, the super chats as well. Definitely, they come up in some big green or blue or yellow letters or whatever it happens to be. So here we go. So let's get into some of your questions. Liam Patterson is going to be the first one. I'm going to jump back to John Fraser. What sim would you recommend? So probably what sim, if it was up to me, would I be choosing? And at the moment, it's probably DCL. Why? Because I find it's the most fun sim there is out there. So it's like, it is a little bit more arcadey, but if that gets you playing more, and as a result, you learn more flying around that sim, I think you're going to have a fantastic time. I wonder if we can Google the trailer right here. So that's this sim and DCL sim. Surely I've done a video on it. Actually, I think we did a bit of a live stream as well. And it's also on Xbox, but the Xbox version isn't that good. And I seem to be crashing a lot in this as well. So check this out. That was this sim right here. And I'm crashing quite a bit. I was racing one of my friends, Malice, but yeah, it's got some really cool tracks. It's really fun to fly around, and yeah, overall I like this one. But also there's some cheap ones too, like FPV Air 2. I know that's a pretty fun sim, but is also very easy on your computer. So if you don't have many graphic capabilities or anything like that, that is also a good one. But I really like this one. There's also Velocidrone or Liftoff. You don't have to worry. All sims are still going to help you regardless of which one that you get. So anyway, let's stop this video because that will distract me way too much. Get back. And I think the other one, John Fraser, hello from Alaska. Mobula 6 or Tiny Hawk Freestyle for a starter FPV drone. Mob 6. The problem with the Tiny Hawk Freestyle is that for me, and I believe a lot of others as well, so it wasn't just my experience, but from what I've heard from others as well, is that the VTX in the Tiny Hawk Freestyle, it's kind of terrible. You won't get very much range whatsoever. Even though they're both only 25 milliwatt, the Mob 6 I felt just flies nicer, and also overall just has a better VTX in there. Okay, Tria Tup. I would answer your question, brother, but please tag me again, and then we'll answer it so I can see it popping up right there. We have Younger Buckets. So I just got my drone today, and I was setting up the video, and I noticed the ESCs and flight control are getting warm. Do you know why that happens? So I know the VTX will definitely get very warm. That is common practice. This camera's. I wonder if I can zoom this in or get this a bit better. When you're setting up a drone, yeah, the VTX will definitely get very hot. I don't know if ESCs will get hot if it's just sitting there not doing anything. Unless it's got a whole bunch of current running through it, I don't think they should be getting too warm. What else was getting hot? You said your flight controller. It depends how really warm. Like a tiny bit of heat is probably normal, like, 20, 30 degrees, maybe 35 to 40, but I wouldn't expect much more from a flight controller at all. But the VTX definitely, if it's getting really, really hot, you can barely touch it with those other components, there's probably something wrong, except for the VTX. Those things could just get as hot as the temperature of the sun. Those things are ridiculous. Let me scroll down here on this window too. This should help me a little bit. And we're going to answer another one from Gap Tooth Granny. What can I expect with the Zing 1404 4006 kV motors running a 3S with a HQ 30x20 bi-blades? Bi-blades, I'd probably say you have a little bit less grip in the air, but on that, it should be a little screamer. It should absolutely be screaming around, having some fun, and you should have no issues whatsoever. Okay. And I got a shout out FPV Nick Malden. He's giving me a fist pump there. Cheers for the first super chat of the day. Very much appreciated, especially when we're stuck indoors. It makes it kind of tricky to get some of these flight reviews done because you can't go outside. You get a big fine if you do, all that sort of stuff. So thank you very much. That is hugely appreciated there. If you got some questions too, throw it down, man. So they'll definitely pop up in a big blue bar and I'll be able to see it. We have, and there's been a lot of questions since I started scrolling. Actually, what sim is the Eachine Wizard TS215 any good? So that one's from Emil Kelligidson. I don't know how to pronounce that. I am sorry if I mispronounce anybody's names. Let's have a look. I think that is the one that has like camouflage, like wrapping over the carbon. So we'll have a bit of a Google for everybody playing along at home. And in my review, it says I almost killed Cal. So that's this one. We're going to open this in two different windows because it is fun going back and watching some of, I think ours exploded actually, which was kind of a no to that recommendation. So we're talking about this drone right here for those people playing along. And you can see it's a bit of a floss copy, and some things we don't like about it. Where's a better example? They have a close-up of the board. No, they just have, okay, so you can kind of see in here, it's made with two plates that sandwich together over the top of the arms, but the dumb thing in here is one of those plates that sandwiches it and uses it for the structural integrity of the frame, it is a PCB board. It's made to, have some electronics built in. So of course the smallest flex, it's going to give you some hairline fractures and it's going to be kind of useless. But watch what happens. Let me see. We're just going to jump straight into flying this thing full throttle. And it actually, how old is this video? This is over 2 years old. Let's see how we go here.
That sort of stuff flashing. I think
blah
that's
blah
nice.
blah. Listen to that fool talking in the background.
There's still some other rubbish I would like to turn off.
And
but overall, look, I just couldn't fly it with the latency. Everything. All
there we
the
go.
responses,
I just
all
said
that
I
sort of
couldn't
stuff felt
fly
the
it with
same,
the
but
latency,
that
so I didn't
camera,
like that part, and didn't seem like it got a very good review. I don't think the other boys liked it as well, but I think here is where it gets good. We throw on a 6S pack, and we fly it at Cal. Let's turn the sound up as well.
I'll be holding this shield very tightly.
So, and I don't recommend people doing this at home either. All right, we're about to send it.
What did you say? I said 120.
We're saying 120 miles per
Said
hour. We think it might
110, but I
top
think
out
you're going to be right.
Let's go.
Look, we don't even know how well the tune is going to go with this quad or anything.
Let's send it to
anything
Cal.
Could happen here. Anything at all.
Welcome to the UAV Futures live stream where
Especially
we're
when you're
watching
running
some
in
2-year-old videos
Burst
based off one
flames
random question. We've
mid-flight
gone on
and
a huge
fireball
tangent.
just come down and hit me right in the face. Let's hope not.
I can
Alright,
hear
here
it
we go.
falling up. Oh,
What did I tell you, guys? What did I tell you?
See?
There
must be a take two. Jump.
Get this. Oh, what happened?
Let's have a look here.
Quite literally.
Okay, almost killed Cal.
Let's get it on.
Here we go.
Here's
some Australian kookaburras. The suspense. Oh, that was pretty close. I don't know if you guys could see that.
Nothing.
And Cal didn't get a reading, and then here we go. Bit of slow-mo through the air. Look at it tumbling. And it's on fire. So do I recommend this quad?
Yeah.
No. not really. There you go. Hopefully that answers your question. We had bad latency, and also we almost killed Cal and it exploded into a few fiery bits. Radio. So Moonrunner FPV, and cheers to everybody who's tuned into the stream. Moonrunner FPV wants to know at UAV Futures, can you use Betaflight Speedy B with an iPad to change and cable to change the PIDs when at the park? So I don't think you can do it with a cable, but with an iPad and a cable aren't going to work. But what I believe you can do is get the Bluetooth module adapter that you can plug in, and then you can get the Speedy B app on your iPhone or iPad and Bluetooth those two up together, and it should be able to work through that way. So I know Apple doesn't like letting things interact with a cable directly, but if you can Bluetooth it through, then you're allowed to do that. Molly, you at UAV Futures, what is the favorite drone that you use? It would be the Catalyst Machine Works Banggood. I'm a huge fan of that one. It's very reliable, it's tough, and it's got the DJI in there. So if I'm just going to go out and rip a freestyle pack, that's what I'm going to be choosing. And here we go from Finian Buckley. I'm starting off in FPV, have driven, flown places and RC before, and wanted to build a 3-inch quad and get it up in the air for around $200. Any recommendations? Well, the XJBs, you can't go wrong with an XJB. It's pretty old, but they should be good value as well. The old school one. Oh, and we've only got the props here. Let me see if we can find one of these. XJB 145 HGLRC. So many acronyms to remember. And let's have a look. Out of stock, unfortunately, but I mean, for 150 bucks, this drone right here is the bomb. I think they have a new one coming out as well, possibly in HGLRC. Let's have a look here. Products, drones, FPV racing drone. They did do the arrow and everything, but I really did like the sold out. It's a bit of a shame, but yeah, if you can track one of those down at some different site, definitely try checking one of those out. All right, let's have a look. Oh, Stewie from Bradley Patterson. Someone's saying smash that like button. Thanks very much for that. DCL is too much for me. Yeah, all right, Kevin. I would say jump in, have a look at either FPV Air 2, or I think it's called FPV Freerider. Dylan P at UAV Futures. Why do you have to start streaming when and then I don't understand what when you're doing homework? Sorry about that, brother. School's probably closed anyway, so I don't know what the time is. Let me know. I think it's from memory. It's about 10 p.m. in the States, possibly, from yesterday when people are saying some of their times, and maybe I think it was 4 a.m. in the UK. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm sure I probably am wrong, to be honest. All right. Let's scroll down here a little bit. Here's Dodgy. Welcome to the screen. Welcome to the stream, Dodge. Let me add you as a moderator. There we go. So hopefully a few extra things are coming up for you now. Trigger top. My air unit comes down glowing red. So glowing red might not be the correct heat. It should hopefully dissipate a little bit. If you are getting really hot VTXs when you're flying around, I'd say to anybody, make sure that you've got a decent amount of airflow over the top of your craft, so it's cooling down. And don't leave your VTXs sitting on the bench. What's happened? I've got some error. I got an error page from HGLRC. Fantastic. That stressed me out a little bit. Yeah, all right. Let's move on. FPV CH19. Do you have any issues with the Module 7 onboard receiver? I have 3 of them, and it will no longer bind bad receiver. So I don't know about binding options or binding failsafes or anything like that, but what's the term? I don't know about binding setups, but when I was flying mine around, I did notice if I went a little bit too far away, I would get kind of like a gray out, so the drone would be flying, and it would just hold its position, like you're going around a turn, and then it just holds its position for a couple of seconds and then locks back in. So it's kind of like a brown out or a gray out. I'm not too sure what you call that technical term, but yeah, I did notice that a few times with mine, but nothing where they wouldn't bind. They always bind up. You could also maybe try binding through the RX_SPI _BND or something, depending on what Betaflight version that you're on. All right, Musa Ahmed, best mini drone is Mobula 5. Oh, and then he says 6. Okay, yeah, Mob 6, absolutely. The Mob 6 is a beast. Dodgy's giving me the thumbs up there, a little peace symbol. Colton Converse is saying, at UAV Futures, I have the Skyfly IA6B receiver and the flight controller from the $99 V2 base version, but I can't find a wire to connect the two. So you might have to, if I can remember, the base version, I have to find out what flight controller was on there, but you can find some of these cables, or you might be able to just directly solder one up. It's been a while since I remember the IA6B. What happens if I just type FC wire RC? Let's have a look. I don't think it's this one, but if you have a bit of a Google on bangers, a bit of a search on Banggood, often they have a lot of these little connectors. You should be able to match one up if you count the pins and have a look what the flight controller is on that board and find one of those, and it should be able to just directly plug in. And then you are going to have to cut the end though for the IA6B, so you're going to have to solder on some, I think that uses servo leads possibly on the FlySky IA6B, which means it's like quite a larger connector. Hang on, let me see if I can get that up to IA6B FlySky. Let's have a look. So that's these ones. So you're not going to find a cable that directly plugs from one end to another. Oh, this one's on bangers as well. So this here, you're going to probably need to mix and match. So whether you need to splice some wires together or something, you're not going to find a cable that directly goes from one to the other. You're going to need to do a little bit of work. This is kind of an old school receiver from about 5 years ago, but it is kind of pricey nowadays, but they used to be the cheapest option back in the day. Seems like they've kind of stayed the same price when other receivers were about $50. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Michael Lampo wants to know, what goggles should I buy? Well, how much money do you have, brother? That's what I need to know. If you want to give me to as much information as you can in your questions. So if you really want me to answer your question and give you an answer that is worthy to you guys, please type as much as you can in there rather than like favorite drone or best drone. That doesn't help me quite as much as in like best drone for doing this. I've got this much to spend. The more criteria you can put in there, the more I can fine-tune the answer to suit you. All right, let's have a look here. Younger buckets. When I turn on my goggles, there is an annoying thing that flashes saying low RSSI, and I don't know how to get it off. I've already tried on Betaflight and removed that on the OSD. So, yeah, I don't know what. Can you turn telemetry? Have you tried turning telemetry off in Betaflight as well? Maybe there's a little option there. But usually, yeah, on the OSD, you can just try. What happens if you disable everything on your OSD? Maybe I would say try that and find out what happens. I don't know why that would be. Is it flashing the whole time? Give me a bit more info. Or was it just when you turn it on? A little bit more info, please. People are already answering, Michael Lamper. That answer very depends much on your budget, how much you want to spend. Yeah, speaking about those goggles, I need to know how much money that you've got. Michael Bennett. Okay, we're having some trouble, he says, with the SkyZone O2Xs. I'm seeing double vision in 2D mode and tried playing around with the IPD adjustments, still not working. Is there anything else I can do? And we know you said you checked that it wasn't in 3D mode. I don't know, what's it like when you say double vision? What happens when you close one eye and look in it? How is it looking at like a different image? Because then that's a good way to double check if it's on 3D mode. You could have two different channels coming in. But otherwise, if it's not right for your eyes using the IPDs, have you tried them with other goggles as well? Do you get the same issue? Is it just happening on these Sky Zones? If you tried it with Fat Sharks or something and it's fine, and if so, I would say, well, then your Sky Zones might not be working. There could be actually something wrong with them because you shouldn't be seeing double vision unless you're in 3D mode. And also, please make sure that you're on the correct frequency. So if your goggles are on Fat Shark 1, make sure your drone is pumping out on Fat Shark 1. I'm getting some pop-ups on my computer for Domino's delivery when you need it most. Get 3 large pizzas, sponsored by Domino's. FPV Nick Malden. Can I send you an email? Where can I find it? So yes, you can. It is in the About page on my YouTube. We have a contact there for email purposes if you want to email me that. Let's have a look here. What's the best drone to buy for a beginner? Okay, that's got a bit more criteria in it. And I would say just purely for a budget point of view, either you want to get something outdoors, it could be like the Nazgul, the iFlight Nazgul, which is kind of hard to track down at the moment. But is this heater on? I'm going to turn this heater off. iFlight Nazgul. Seems like we just need to have the Sky Zones and Nazgul up, and of course it's not going to show up at all. I'm going to do a bit of a Google. What about iFlight? And my computer's frozen. Let's have a look here. There we go. So make sure you put a 5 at the end of your search. So you've got a 6S version, a 4S version, one of these bad boys. We're in Australian dollars here. Look, here's my Domino's pizza behind my face here. Let's change this to US dollars. Sometimes you can get these a little bit cheaper around the $200 mark, so that's what I would recommend. Or maybe something like the Mobula 6, which if you just want to do some indoor flying and start off, you're going to have a lot of fun. And of course, I can't find the Happy Model Mobula 6. That's just what happens if we search Happy Model. And you get a tank. That's not what I'm talking about. If you Google Happy Model and UAV Futures or the Mobula 6 UAV Futures, you will find a video from me on there. Okay, let's have a look. Emil, I was wondering, is there any way I can connect the receiver without soldering? Probably not. You are going to need to solder, probably. Talking about that flight controller. Actually, absolutely. There is no way you are going to find a correct pin-out cable that also has those servo connectors on the end. That is just not going to happen. So yes, you're going to need to do a little bit of soldering. Check the Discord general chat to see my poor Bangod, my digital blacked out. So, all right, Brian, let's do that, because for those of you who don't know about the Discord, let me have a look just here. And ooh, it's actually one of the, look at this. This doesn't look like a happy drone. So this is over on the Discord. I think we're looking at, that's yours right there, Brian. So yeah, sorry about that. That's not, and the camera's smashed as well. I should not be laughing because that's actually quite sad. And the battery is totally toast as well. On a good note, it looks like the frame probably is still flyable, even though it's delaminating here at the front. But that battery is toast. And on the flip side, though, often that battery probably did save the rest of your drones. So if that wasn't on there, maybe it would have snapped in half. I can see you've even got some GPS on there as well. So I don't know. Tell me the story. Let me know what happened. And for everybody else who's interested, go check out the Discord. The link is above as well. Hill Scraper, have you flown the new Rotor Riot race build? I have not, so I don't even know what that is. But I'm sure it's, I don't know. I'm sure it's on their website somewhere for anybody who wants to go check that out and purchase one of those. Sky Strider, hey Stu, for someone who is super new into 5 inches, is there a huge difference between 2207 and 2306 motors? I bought some T-motor, F60 2550 kVs for 4S, they are 27 freestyle flying. You know what? If you're super new, what are we talking? Especially if you're doing freestyling, yes, there is a difference, and some people prefer a larger 23 size motor, or whether you go into a 22 size motor and the 07s, 2306 versus 2207. I honestly feel like one's got a bigger stator, one's a little bit of a wider magnet, wider motor, but I feel like it's between those two, in my humble opinion, it's very much for muchness. It's not going to notice too much difference. Some people will, depending on what props they put them with, but we're really talking about like the pro pilots, people like Ranger, who are flying maybe all the time professionally, or just those pilots. They're going to have a preference. But for people who might be new into it, into the 5-inch scene, let me tell you, you are not going to notice a difference. It's like, okay, here's a good analogy, right? I don't know the first thing about drinking wine. Wine for me just doesn't do it for me. I'm like, this is not a drink that I enjoy and I'm not interested in. And if someone said, hey Stu, have this wine, it's from this vintage and it's using these grapes and blah, 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 but oh yeah, that tastes like wine. and then they give me another one. It could be a $200 bottle, or it could be a $5 bottle. I drink that one. Oh yeah, that tastes like wine. It pretty much tastes the same for me. That's how much I could tell the difference between the two. The same thing is going to be, that's how much difference you can tell between your motors. It's going to be a 2207 to a 2306 are so similar, especially for a newcomer. Even for most medium pilots who've been in the hobby for a few years, you would be struggling to tell the difference. You'd notice a lot more difference with props versus between those two motor sizes. KV, on the other hand, you will notice a higher KV is going to pull more amps, and it's going to be, I think, a little bit more like top end speed, but a lower KV is going to be a bit more efficient and maybe a little bit more grunty at the bottom of the throttle as well. I'm going to read out. We've got here Nick Bolden again. Show my support. I will be sending you an email a little bit later. Thank you so much for that super chat, brother. Very much appreciated. If you've got some questions, also you can fire them away in here. They'll pop up in a bright green part, so I'll be able to read that out. But yeah, the email, it is in there somewhere in the about page at uavfutures@gmail.com. I think it's check whatever's in the description anyway. Might even be in the description of this video. Okay, challenge accepted. I need to scroll up just a little bit. Angus Reinstein. I have a new Emax Tiny Hawk 1 FPV out of the box. The radio controller is making a strange clicking noise when the main power button is pressed, and it's failing to turn on at all. So, have you tried pressing and holding it and seeing what happens? I can't remember from the top of my head if that's like a quick press, like a turns it on. You might actually need to hold it down. It's like not a safety feature, but a feature to stop it turning on automatically and wasting all the battery. So try holding it down and find out what happens. And if not, maybe it's broken. Or maybe you've got flat batteries in there as well. Make sure the battery's fully charged, because maybe it'll just turn on for a second and then that's it. That could also be what's happening. And you have to be a wordsmith to fit it in 200 characters or less. Yes, if you're trying to type some questions, absolutely. You can try to cram in as much info as you can. King of Kings wants to know, what's a good receiver for under $150? Pretty much any receiver is going to be under that price. So a good receiver is probably, if we're talking about our radio link, and I would say the TBS, any TBS Crossfire receivers, whether they be their micros or something, is going to get you probably some of the best range that you can get. Got here late. Hey everybody, welcome Ridgie FPV. And Michael Bennett, it's one perfect image when I close one eye. Okay, and what's the other image like? Let me know. So we're trying to fix out those goggle problems. So maybe one of your lenses is not correctly aligned. Josh Burns, at UAV Futures, should I use a setup and lift off similar to my one in real life, or should I go all out? Now, here's a good bit of advice. When you're flying around on the sim, and I love telling, I should just stop saying, I'm going to upset some people here. I should, because look, these are just my opinions. Guess what? It doesn't really matter what setup you use in liftoff. It's all about, liftoff is just about that muscle memory, flying around, practicing those tricks, practicing those turns, getting some actual stick time. Would it help if it was as close as it could be to your real life drone? Yeah, probably, but it's not going to make that much of a difference because the drones don't handle exactly like your real life drone anyway. So I feel like that's all a bit of extra fluff you might be throwing that they put in there. So, you can do this and adjust your PIDs. Okay, you can muck around with all that stuff. That's not the point of the sim. The point of the sim is just so you can fly around and learn how to fly and have a bit of fun. It'd be like if you're going for a car lesson and the car person said, hey, look, you can adjust your seat here. You can change the color of your seat. You can choose the radio station that you've got. Is it going to help you become a better driver when you're brand new and you just need to learn how to turn the steering wheel, how to flick the blinker on and off, how to run someone over, whatever you need to do when you're learning to drive, whatever that is. Same sort of deal with the FPV sim. Just go all out, muck around, have fun, fly around, whatever feels best. That would be my advice on the sim. You don't need to make it match exactly what it's going to be like on your drone. Okay. But hopefully that helped. Scrolling down, at UAV Futures, please enlighten us on quad fixed wing for VTOL, about boards config, transition to fixed to multi-rotor. KS, so talking about a VTOL quad or a wing and building those things, what I would love to say to you is all this information, but The truth is, I don't know enough about wings. I don't want to be one of those people who just make stuff up for the sake of answering a question or trying to look like they know everything. For me, when it comes to fixed wing, that is all in Wingman Jono and Long Range Tony's regards. I just happen to be lucky enough to be able to meet them, come along for the flights, and learn a little bit from them. But when it comes to the configurations and the transitions from a VTOL to forward flight, I have zero idea how that functions. I wouldn't even know how to set that up in Betaflight. I wouldn't know pretty much what is that. That's a very complex maneuver, and I don't know. I just know racing drones, kind of freestyle drones. They go 4 motors, they spin up, they go fast, oof, they go forwards. But as far as putting something on a servo and changing the flight controller and the flight controller recognizing when it's in a different flight mode, all that sort of stuff, based on a fixed wing VTOL kind of configuration, not my area of specialty. So I am sorry there. I cannot answer that question with the information that you want. Challenge accepted. At UAV Futures, I have a pair of Eachine VR7 Pros and would be willing to spend $200 for a new goggles. Any good new suggestions? Yeah, I do really like these ones. So I should have these just permanently up here because I'm sure these will come up quite a bit. Let's see, but see if you can get them on a bit of a better price. These bad boys right here. Hang on, I think what are these ones? They looked a bit cheaper. OS's. No, we don't want the Oh, why are they so cheap? Is that right? Okay, that must be out of stock. This is what I'm looking at. It said here. We'll go back. Check this out. If you could have picked some of these up, this would have been a steal. Not these ones. Look here, $199. That would be for the Sky 03Ss. That would be a bargain. But unfortunately, they look like they're all out of stock. But probably these ones here. These are my go-to goggles that I love. I know a lot of people who like flying these around. Shout out to Malice Vex. I know he's got a pair of these. A few people. Yeah, for me and a lot of my friends, we have had a lot of success. But it sounds like we are fixing someone's Sky Zones in the chat where one of their lenses might be a bit misaligned. So if you can save up a little bit more, I really like these goggles. I think they're all, if you can't, the Omway Commander V1Ss I have seen for as cheap as 150, but you'd have to do a bit of a Google as well. But regardless, it's going to be so much better than your Eachine VR7 Pros. Okay. Angus Ritzstein, I have a new Emax out of the box. Oh, okay, we just answered that question, unless I've scrolled back up and I've missed that. Have you ever tried using the TX to control any other games other than The Sims? So that's from Kevin Wang, and nope, not really. I guess I don't know why I would do that when I've got a keyboard and mouse, or I even have like an Xbox controller somewhere if I'm going to play some game on my computer. But most of the time, when I'm going to be using the sim, it is purely just for for learning, and that's when I'd use the radio on that. There's no point. I don't know why. Look, it might be fun. There's a bit of a laugh, but yeah, I'd probably just be using my regular game controls. Have you done that? Is that how you play? I don't know. What is that? How you're playing Call of Duty? Imagine playing Call of Duty with your Tyrannus. It might be could be an idea for a video, actually. But yeah, some FPV CH19 is saying yes, Skyzone O2s are awesome. He's never had an issue. Let's give a bit of shout out to some people just tuning in. Randall Badgett, good day, Stu. G'day, what's going on, my friend? G'day, Stu. Sometimes a lot of people ask me to do that intro actually, just when I'm chit chatting to them. Do the Orca goggles work with the Cadex Vista? Chuck A. Nope, I don't think so. They're just the Cadex Vista is the DJI, a little digital transmitter air unity kind of thing. That's this bad boy. And the Orca goggles are purely an analog. They don't have the capabilities to receive this digital signal. So, plus the Orca goggles are super expensive. We're having this conversation yesterday actually on Discord. I think it was to John. Shout out to John, who I met on Discord. It was almost straight after the stream. Link is in the description. But he was talking about, oh, maybe these Orca goggles, and they're about $1,000 Australian. And like, hang on, no, mate, they don't. You realize they don't actually receive digital. He's like, wait, they don't? And you're paying an awful lot of money. For me, I feel like Orcas, yeah, they're going to be a great analog video, that analog pair of goggles that I will probably never get to try, but they're very expensive. It's probably it should have come out a little bit sooner. Unfortunately, I feel like the future is definitely moving it to digital. What drone should you get after you've outgrown the Tiny Hawk? That's from King of Kings, and there you go, the Nazgul. So that's that one we searched up earlier as well. Let's have a look. Hello. So I can't pronounce some of these names. Alkilip Alkapi. Hey Stu, my Nazgul is barely moving at full throttle. Throttle limiter is off, and also eats my battery full in like 3 minutes. Check this footage out. Is it the ESC? So I would say I don't know about not moving at full throttle because that quad can definitely scream through the air. But the part there where I'm a bit confused, it says it eats my full battery in like 3 minutes. Yep, that is normal for our racing drones. When you're really giving it some stick, you will drain that battery, sometimes up to like 90 seconds. And the Nazgul is a very, very hungry quad as well. But I'm not too sure what's happening when you're saying it's barely moving at full throttle. I can't see. Unfortunately, I don't get to see the link that you've posted if there's some footage. You could post it in the Discord. Maybe we could check that out if you post it in the share my vids here part, which is just here. So maybe if you can post it in here, we might be able to check it out as well. So, and if some other people got some videos, man, there's been a few since yesterday. Feel free to post them in here. Radio. Let's get back to some questions. Oh, we got a super chat. So, Moving Shadows, Home and Away on Neighbours. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I was actually having this conversation last night at about 1 a.m. I stayed up way too late, and I definitely regret it because then at about 3 a.m. my daughter decided to wake up from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. and give me zero sleep. But we in Australia, I feel like these shows are not popular in Australia. Like maybe some people watching them. I don't know any of my friends who watch Home and Away on Neighbours. I know my wife's grandma, who was 95, 96, watches them, but that's about it. And yeah, I don't know anybody who watches those. So I can see you're from the UK because we've got the pounds right there. But if I did have to choose, let's answer that question. I would say Neighbours. So I don't know. What's the one they watch over there? Is it like 27 Street? I don't know. Some East Enders? Is that what they watch in the UK? I'm not sure. It's probably like the same sort of stuff. All right, I'm getting a little bit distracted from the FPV stuff. Oh, and then last night, right? So this is what Jim was asking me. Hey, Stu, which one do you watch? Almost that exact same question. And then we started talking about, okay, what shows do I watch? And then I was like, okay, my favorite shows are probably sci-fi shows or a good sci-fi movie, like some of my all-time classics, like the Aliens, the sequel to Aliens is right up there. Something like Terminator 2, Predator are like the gold standards for like my favorite movies of all time. And when I was watching those when you're about 8 years old, 9 years old, it just blew my mind. It's like, yeah, it solidified my favorite genre of movies. But I feel like it's very hard to make a good sci-fi. So I was talking to Russ last night. Shout out to that old Santa Claus bugger. But we're talking about sci-fi shows. I was like, yeah, but he's saying all these other ones that they just don't seem to cut it. It's very hard to make a good sci-fi. When they're great, they're amazing, and when they're average, it's just very mediocre or not enjoyable. All right, so let's stop getting distracted here. Neo Neeson Hung at you have hitches. My Mob 6 won't bind to my FlySky i6X unless it's in Betaflight 5357. Okay, so there's a good little tip there for anybody who's trying to bind theirs up. Make sure your Betaflight configurator is updated to what 537. I think that's what you're talking about. Emil is saying, can I connect an Xbox remote to a flight sim? I accidentally broke my remote and have to wait for a new one to ship. You can, but you're not going to have a great experience. I don't feel like it's worth it. You can actually buy DCL on Xbox. If you Google DCL simulator, UAV Futures, we tried it out on both. I couldn't even really fly around when it came to the Xbox remote. It's not the same because your throttle management, those gimbals on the Xbox are way too small. All right. This one is a good one from, I got to give a shout out for whenever someone asks a fantastic question that's going to help a lot of people. Challenge accepted. At UAV Futures, how important are antennas? My video wasn't great with my trashy plastic stock antennas. I got a new one, but I haven't flown yet. Will it make a difference? Absolutely. Antennas are one of the best things you can spend some money on. They don't have to be outstanding. They don't have to be incredible, but don't get the dodgy dipoles that come with, I don't know, like some little toy drone like this. Those antennas aren't going to do a very good job. What I prefer is you could get some pagodas, which are a great antenna. So I'll show you some fantastic antennas here. I bet you I could just go 5.8 antenna, and we can have a look actually at the different ones that are going to pop up. Okay, perfect. So, something like the lollipop, and you need to check the connection as well. Make sure you're going to get the correct connection to fit whether it be your goggles or whether it's going to be fitting your drone. So we've got some little lollipops here. This is a pagoda antenna. You can see these ones are made for your goggles because they've got that little right hand connection down the bottom. And a patch antenna. If you're rocking diversity, something like this is going to be amazing. This is one of we've actually tested this. There's a video on this if you Google UAV Futures triple feed patch. Excuse me, these antennas are really, really good as well. So yeah, they will make a huge difference. What you don't want to do is have left-hand polarized on your quad, right-hand polarized on your goggles. You don't want to mismatch those. And another thing, I actually don't mind. Let's see, and an antenna, if you can get the antenna away from your head as well, so there's a pretty good idea. I'd say that's I haven't tried this antenna, but I'm going to say this one is decent. The iFlight one, because it's 15 centimeters, it's going to stick up above your head, which means this big bucket of water or your brain is not going to be stopping too many signals from getting it, because water is terrible for interference. And then, what did I want to say? It was something about just little plain dipole antenna. Oh, so let's say you have something like this on your craft, right, on your drone. I actually don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. If you have these on your goggles, it's no good, but if you have them on your drone, sometimes those little whip antennas are more than adequate as long as you've got good receiving antennas on your goggles. I'm just going to have a drink of water while I read some questions. Welcome back, Ben. It's good to see internet finally got fixed. Neo, how much do they cost? I'm not too sure what you're asking about that. Emil, a lot. Thank you so much for those people who are tagging me. It does make it easier. Chuck A, and I can't believe we've got 137 people watching. That's got to be some sort of record. Let's have a look. And no one's hit the dislike button yet. Come on, guys. What's going on? Chuck A, any update on what's happening with remote ID regulations? I am going to say you're not going to hear very much about that whatsoever in the next. Your country, America, has far too much stuff to deal with right now, where I bet you that's on the back burner. You're probably not going to be hearing very much about it whatsoever, or it might get crammed into like a bill that's passed with 100 other very, very low priority things, and it just gets all swept through. Let's just all vote on this and push it all through together. That might happen. All right. Do you PC build? That's from ListMite. Nope, not really. We spoke about this yesterday. I just have a laptop that I use from everything. Best budget radio from Bill Burgeon. Budget. How much is budget? Because really, I would probably say one of these bad boys. If I was going to just first get in, you're probably looking at this for about $95. One of these. It's still going to feel like a full-size proper radio. Or I don't know how much the new, I think it's the Radio Master TX 16S or something like that is going to be. So maybe keep an eye out for that as well. All right, let's have a look here. And then I think I'm going to pick a random video from Share My Vids. We'll have a check some of those out as well. Ruben is asking, he has an issue with his Emax Tiny Hawk 2. Has had an issue where the motor's cut out for a split second mid-flight. I haven't changed anything other than the VTX power on the OSD and the OSD. So maybe what happens if you change the VTX power down? Maybe it can't handle, like it's drawing too much current for your motors and also the VTX. But I'm not too sure what that might be. Who are your top 5 pilots from 2021? Tag me at UAV Futures. So let's exclude present crew because we don't want anybody to get upset, you know. I don't want to say, oh, I will have Granger. Well, why aren't I in that list or something? Let's say some of my top 5 pilots. We're talking about for flying, for freestyle, for racing. What is people who I'd be like, you know what? These are the people I want to have over for tea, and who are amazing pilots, or just, I don't know. Okay, top 5 pilots. First and foremost, so they've got to be a pilot. Probably, I would say a bot grinder. Huge fan of him. I think just his general attitude and he has towards flying and being a caring person, I'm a huge fan of. We have Nurk FPV. He is a great ambassador for the hobby. He's like really professional in terms of what he's doing as well and pushing the limits of everything. And he's in DCL, so like, you know, he's a DCL champion. Stinger Swarm, it seems like a really, really cool dude. Definitely I'd love to catch up with him. Tommy, and then I don't know who number 5 is. You know what? I'm going to say number 5 is a secret, so if I've ever forgotten anybody who's watching this, think, oh yeah, Stuart would have said my name next. So there we go. Okay. Challenge accepted. I bought a pair of 2 antennas. They'll both be the same polarization. That's fantastic. That's going to help you as well. Make sure if you can get diversity, it's going to help even more. Let's have a look here. Roscoe Sticks, you're often in the same place. You'd love to meet up for a rip sometime. Definitely, man. Send me an email if you're around, and we can go for a flight. Once this corona's all over, I should say, for the government who was watching the stream, I have no intention of breaking curfew and will be remaining here and supporting your laws fully. Right, that should fool them. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have a look here. So let's, like I said, I was gonna watch. Let's have a look at someone's random video. Let's see in the share my vids here. Who are we gonna pick here? I'm gonna pick someone who's put some work into the thumbnail. Ooh, but that one does look good. Ooh. 2-year edit. Okay, the road so far. This is what we're going to watch. Hopefully, it says warning, edit, proceed with caution. Let's hopefully. Do I need to check this a little bit? Might need to make sure it's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking good. Okay, we're going to watch this video. This looks like a good one. So if you're interested, this is in the share my vids on the Discord. The link is down below. Let's check this out. Play. Oh, starting off with Team Black Sheep. So I wonder if this is sponsored or just put that there for fun. And I'll turn some sound up as well. And then we can keep answering some questions. Let's keep them rolling in. Definitely looks very chilly here. And you know what? And I got to give a 10 out of 10. For, I don't know about this remix or cover, but a bit of old school, probably one of my favorite ever Nirvana songs. A bit of heart-shaped box. Okay. Looks like this video's got a lot of work in it. Done a lot of traveling. Why this is going, I'm going to scroll down to and answer some questions. I'm sure I'm going to get demonetized now thanks to this song right here. This is pretty cool. I'm going to turn this sound down while I'm still answering some questions because definitely I don't want to stop this video. It's too good. I feel like I picked a good one, so thanks very much. All right. Challenge accepted. Sorry, I phased the wrong question, but if I buy a pair of 2 antennas, can I put one on my drone? There we go. I was getting way too distracted. If I buy a pair of 2 antennas, can I put one on my drone and one on my goggles? Will it work? Yes, absolutely. Most of our it doesn't matter what antennas you put on, as long as they're 5.8 gigahertz. Man, that's crazy. How's he flying around that space with a race drone? That's I don't know how that's. It's a little bit questionable. Jeez. Okay, Raymond Mitchell. G'day, Stu. Are you to take the UA Futures on the road one day and see you in Western Australia? If I ever am over there, I will do not an announcement, but definitely maybe I'll do a little post or put something through to my patrons. Say, hey, look, anyone in WA, if you want to meet up for a fly, definitely. I think by WA you mean Western Australia. All right. Let's have a look right here. Roland B at UAV Futures. Cheers, Quadfather. What's the word from tomorrow? They find a cure yet? Still Thursday here in California. I'm going to push stop on this. This video is pretty special, but it's getting way too distracting for me because I can see it happening over there. I feel like it's affecting my ability to answer some of these questions, but very, very cool video. What was I talking about? They haven't found a cure. Have they found a cure yet for that virus? No. Maybe, imagine if they're like, oh, you just got to have more FPV, mate. That's what everybody needs. Young Buckets at UAV Futures. So when I set the low voltage warning on the OSD, that is when the RSSI low warning comes on, but I want the low voltage warning. So yeah, they definitely shouldn't be coming up at the same time. I'm not too sure how to fix that one, my friend. Could you just have like the battery voltage in the left and then you can watch it as well? So like say if it says 3.5 volts per cell, can you keep an eye on that instead of having the low voltage flash on the screen? Francisco Sylvia at UAV Futures. DJI Air Unit are left or right hand polarization antennas? They are left hand polarized. So if you're going to be upgrading your antennas on your DJI set, make sure that you don't buy right hand polarized because it's just not going to work. It's stung one of my mates actually. He bought some antennas and it turns out he got the wrong one. So he's a right hand polarized patches, but you can just use left hand polarized, please. Techno FPV. Hey Stu, at UA Futures. How about a challenge? Question. GPS won't detect or lock any stats. Betaflight can detect it and all conflicts are valid. I can even see dedicated sats in GPS Betaflight tab, but GPS never locks even one. Help. I wish I could help Techno, but when it comes to setting up GPS flying around and with Betaflight, that's not my area of special, what's the word? Expertise is the word that I'm looking for. So unfortunately, I can't help you with that one. G Dub FPV at UAV Futures. Hi Stu, building a remix, put the board in backwards, flip the next F7 board over, and now the only thing that powers on is the RSXR. Is the board dead? Okay, so when you plug in a battery, what is the board doing? If no lights are, just because it's upside down or you put it in backwards, it shouldn't be broken. You can put your flight controller in any orientation you want as long as you set it up in the config. But can you connect it to Betaflight on your computer? That's probably the big one. What happens when you plug it into the computer? Is it going to be connecting to Betaflight? So let me know that, GDub, and then we can diagnose further. Boxy 189. Does EPPM foam block 5.8 gigahertz like carbon fiber? No, it does not. So some people have done some findings where they think that TPU can affect the signal, but I don't think it affects it very much whatsoever. But yeah, no, flying around with a foam plane, it's not going to block the radio signal from your VTX. All right, Sky Strider, what is the biggest difference between a 4S and a 6S battery when it comes to flying a 5-inch freestyle flying? Do you have a preference? A few on Discord advised 4S for me. And I would say if you're new to the hobby, just go 6S because 6S is going to be more efficient, but 4S might be cheaper. If you're going to be looking at jumping in, there might be some older components and stuff that you can get for 4S where you might not spend. And 4S batteries, I feel like, especially in Australia, are more readily available than a 6S pack. But the biggest difference, it would only be efficiency. You might get a slightly longer flight time on 6S, but other than that, it's going to be very, very similar. It's like saying, Stuart, I want to cook. There's always cooking analogies. What's going on here? But let's have example. You might want to say, okay, I can't think of a good cooking analogy, but because you match the kV pretty much to your battery voltage, it's going to be this. It's going to work out to feel relatively the same. Just 6S is a little bit more efficient. Okay. 507RC. Want to give a shout out to you too, brother, because I often see your posts. I've seen your icon quite a few times. FPV with the new DJI system is perfect for the pandemic. It forces you to be more than 6 feet apart while flying. Yeah, there you go. See, DJI is thinking ahead. So when you've got to stand there with your headset on, the other person has to be 6 feet apart as well with their headset on. Thank you, DJI there. Let me scroll down a little bit. And I can see Blow Up the Cron is in here again. I almost made it. Let me know, what is the time, Blow Up the Cron, over there in Canada? You talk, and this one we're going to answer from Dylan P. You talked about the Mobula 7, Mobula 6, and for your convenience, I've been looking for ready-to-fly bundles, which I couldn't find. I'm lazy, so any recommendations for cheap goggles and transmitters that work? Okay, if you're feeling lazy and you just want everything that is in one package, we're going to have a look at this. This is what I would recommend to get then. Emax, Tiny Hawk, Ready to Fly kit. There we go. Let's have a look. This is for you if you're feeling lazy. This bad boy right here, 150 bucks. Look, it's adequate to enjoy the hobby, but it's not outstanding. It's not going to feel like the next, you know, you're probably going to want to upgrade your radio very, very soon. Same with the goggles. The goggles might be good ride-along goggles, but overall it's just, I don't know, not, you get what you pay for here. It's 150 bucks for everything. So that would be my recommendation. We got cheers to Broxy189. Cheers, Stu. Nice thumbs up, man. Tribe FPD is saying 6S. So, and also a little bit less sag, maybe on the 4S. Yeah, that's a good point as well. On a heavy punch out, probably going to have a bit more sag on a 4S pack. And we've got, here we go. Let's have a look here. Oh, Ben's answering some questions for me. Links and description and stuff like that. Yeah, if you definitely need some help and you need a more detailed answer than what I'm giving in this stage, or you want to jump in and chat to a whole bunch of people with a whole range, of course, Discord, definitely a great place to jump in, hang out, and if you need build help as well, this one's for beginners, you can throw it in here. A lot of people answering some questions in here, so definitely check that out. And also general FPV chat just for your everyday shenanigans. And it's popular at different, it's a cool place too to meet some pilots who might be in the same area or the same time zone, because a lot of times you'll find you'll be jumping on, chatting to people, and they don't live too far away. Or you could be unlucky like me, and I've made so many friends who would seem to be on the other side of the planet. And I remind me to tell you guys about probably the best movie idea. I was like, man, I wish I could make this movie. Okay, let's scroll down here and, Blow Up the Cron. Cheers, brother. He's giving me a super chat, mate. We do need to jump in and have a chat. I can see you in crew chat right there. So we need to have a bit of chat straight after this stream. We'll jump in, have a chat, see what's going on there, brother. And I'll even, maybe I'll have to grab a bite to eat though while I'm doing it, because this is usually my lunchtime when I'm finished this. I'm absolutely starving, so too easy. Thank you very much appreciated. I hope you're doing well and your little fella isn't driving you too crazy. He's probably getting a little bit older now, I'd guess. What, 3.5? Not too sure. License to drive at UAV Futures. TPU does make a difference to antenna signal strength. See Painless 360's FPV antenna lab video. The real impact of covering your antenna. Yeah, okay, that's what I was talking about. So some people do say that it makes a difference, but in my experience, it hasn't made the flights around, whether the antenna is covered by TPU or not, hasn't really made too much of a difference to my everyday park flying. I'm sure in some scenarios it does affect some people, but go Google that video. Maybe if it was way more scientific than what I could do, and go check that out if you want more information. Let's see, Techno, it's a TBS, and I left it for 30 minutes. I'm not too sure what that is. Okay, challenge accepted. Hey, at UAV Futures, I've been asking your question and you've been a huge help, and I know it's your mission to get me into FPV, and just letting you know that your $99 build is the thing that got me started. So my pleasure, brother. Welcome to the hobby. I'm glad you've been flying around for a while. I know a lot of us started on those cheaper, I guess, clone kits or whatever they were. I know my first one was just shipped out from Bangers, and when I bought it, I had no idea about anything, but that $99 build got a lot of people into the hobby, and that was the whole point of it. You know, you don't have to stay around flying on that $99 hobby, $99 build. Is it going to be the best build you've ever done? No, it's like it's got budget components to get you in the door. What it hopefully did, it showed you the skies and let you fly around, have fun, meet some cool people, and just, I don't know, be part of this amazing FPV community and what FPV offers, and free like a bird. And yeah, that's the point, to get you in the door. And now you're here flying around. So absolutely my pleasure. G-Dub FPV, no power with or without battery plugged in. Also, by plugged into Betaflight, it was a quad box flight controller. So no power with or without battery plugged in. Okay. And also while plugged into Betaflight. So what happens, G-Dub, if we're trying to diagnose his flight controller for anybody playing along at home, it doesn't seem to be responding. What happens when you plug it into Betaflight? I don't know about the power. I want to know when you go to click connect on Betaflight, what is it saying? Because it sounds like it might be a little bit broken, but I want to troubleshoot some more problems as well, just to get to the bottom of it. Scooter file static FPV. Would you recommend the Mobula 7 with 1102 motors? What is on the Mob 7? I can't even remember what it comes with. I'm gonna have to have a Google here. Actually, I think it's Race Day Quad sells some spare motors. Race Day Quads Mobula 7 motors. $34. 1102s. Here they go. This is what I remember. 1102s, that might be a little bit too large, I would say. So really, because they've got 803s, and this is where they've got. So if you put an 1102, I guess you could try it. It's probably not going to, I think the amps would be able to handle it, but I don't know how it would perform. So I'm sure Happy Model did some testing and found out these were probably the best motors for their frame. Or at least you'd hope an FPV company would do that. But yeah, I'm not too sure how it would go. Just try it. Let us know. Make a video. Do a before and after comparison. Do some punch out tests. Give us that data. Send me an email, and maybe we can have it in another live stream. All right. Rude and Smelly FPV, besides having a very cool name. Huge shout out for that super chat, brother. Very much appreciated. We have, what are we saying here? Hey, Stu, haven't watched any of your videos in a long while. Well, come on, brother. What's going on here? But you're a massive help when I was getting into the hobby years ago. See, that's what it's all about. Get it? You don't have to watch all my videos. And really, I am here for those people to just share this message of FPV. I don't have to have the most intense freestyle flight videos traveling all around the world, doing crazy stuff and pushing the boundaries. I just want to be here like you guys, flying with my friends, and when people watch, they think, yeah, that looks fun. I want to have a go with that. I want to try this FPV. That weird Australian guy, he seems awfully enthusiastic about those little flying robots. That does look cool. Can they be that good? Maybe I'll give it a go. And he's making it look easy. Well, it's not even that expensive. Gee, and he's setting it up for me. I'm going to try that. This hobby's amazing, and the big part that means a lot for me you're a massive help when I was getting into the hobby years ago. That's what it's about. I'm so glad that you're still here, Rude and Smelly FPV, still flying around in the skies, regardless if you watch my videos or not. That's not what it's about. It's just about what FPV means to you and that you're still enjoying it. For me, that makes me feel like mission accomplished. So thank you very much there for that super chat, brother. Very, very much appreciated. And yeah, that's some very kind words. Okay, this one is from Daniel. Well, man, I got another super chat in here. What's going on? Daniel Mullock is saying, "Hey mate, haven't seen my HDMI to VTX converter in build pics. Have I seen it? Have you seen my HDMI to VTX converter in build pics? What do you think?" So let's go have a look over there. Build pics channel, HDMI. Give me some more information, Daniel, so we can have a search through. Is it this bottom one here? Let's have a look. And I don't even know how that works. So this one here, I wouldn't even know how to start building something like this myself. So looks okay. We're getting some signals. I'm going to guess you 3D printed this out yourself. Let's have a look. It's got a little fan to keep it cool. Takes this signal, somehow turns it into this, what do you call those plugs? Those yellow video plugs. going into this HDMI converter, and then that, I assume, goes to your TV. So, and then you can fly around on the big screen. So for me, you have way too much way more technical knowledge than I do. I would definitely be like, man, I don't know where to start with this thing, designing my own product, not products, designing my own little projects and things like that. One thing I really did try to do, and it's in pieces, but I was trying to take apart like not a car. This is before the Emax cars came along, but I had like a full setup for racing, little FPV cars, and it's still kind of sitting in pieces. I need to put it all together, but it was going to be with like head tracking, but we had problems with trying to get the radio to correctly work with the steering wheel, all this sort of stuff. But definitely, maybe you'll have to be someone I can ask about 3D printing some molds and things like that. Did you design these fan parts? So obviously pretty cool. You can fly around and, especially if you're kicking back on the couch, watch it on the big screen. And what I actually used to do when I was a teacher, I sometimes would connect the HDMI, the stream out from my goggles and plug it into the video jack. It wasn't HDMI though, but the video jack of the projector in the classroom. And I would fly the drone around and all the kids could see it on the big screen. That actually was pretty fun as well. All right, Chuck A. He's also saying, thanks for the UAV Futures $99 build. I'm hooked. Gives the same seat of your pants thrill as when I race downhill mountain bikes, but without the bone crunching injuries. You know what? This is something that I have heard time and time again. People who like motocross or some dangerous sort of sports, when they're racing things around, that they have hurt themselves quite a lot when it comes to, I know Crash Test Cal, when it comes to riding dirt bikes. And that's one of the reasons why he got into FPV, because he kind of does get that little bit of a thrill that he also gets when he's flying or when he's racing around as well. So he said he's too old to get that now, but yeah, FPV, it really does feel like you're in the zone. Like you forget what you're doing. And I know sometimes how many times have you guys had this conversation when you tell someone, oh yeah, they do all this stuff. It goes for, how long can it fly for? Yeah, about 2 minutes. They go, 2 minutes. Is that it? Oh, that's pretty short. Well, what do you do? And you're like, yeah, but you kind of need that break. I don't think people often say, I wish I had a battery that could fly for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Trust me, if you were on the sticks for 20 minutes racing, the intensity that is going to be on your mind for those, you'd just fry your brain. It just wouldn't work like that. So I'm kind of glad that we only get a 2-3 minute flight time, because I don't think I could handle anymore. It's definitely, it is a lot of fun. All right. Let's keep scrolling down, and I should definitely not sing and definitely not sing on live stream. We've got Captain Kirk in here as well. I've got to give a shout out to him because he is the dude who made my little chopsticks. You might see some UAV Futures chopsticks every now and again in some of my build videos and things like that. One thing that I feel a bit guilty to him though, because I said, oh, sorry, man, I lost... when we moved house, he's like, where's the chopsticks? I'm like, man, I lost it. I don't know where it is. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to make you another special custom one. He sent me 2. Then they came in a special case. And then, yeah, sorry, brother, about maybe a week later, I did find the original one. So I've got some backups now as well. Scooter file static FPV. Okay, I'll try that. I bought 1102s for spares for the sail fly, so I'll let you know. Thanks and good night. Good night to you, brother. Sleep tight. Dream of FPV. Pigo XC Substew. How long would you say a 2S battery lasts? I can't answer. Like I need a lot more information to correctly answer that. Like there could be so many. I don't know what you mean there. Lasts what, like in the environment? Like how large is it? Flying in storage charge after you've disposed of it? Give me some more info, please. This one, GWFPV at UAV Futures. It was the $99 V1 build that sucked me into this wallet draining hobby. Absolutely. So at the start, I had to stop this, but at the start, when I first got into FPV, I used to keep a spreadsheet of everything I spent on like all my FPV products and RC products, and then it was getting like, and it was easy to track because it was on like, I could directly compare it to PayPal, and then it was getting like the $3,000 and stuff. I was like, man, I'm going to stop tallying this up. I need to stop looking at this because it was making me feel bad. Yes, Captain Kirk, you are late. You should definitely check YouTube more often. But we're also going to try and do the stream at this time, or I guess starting it at midday my time, so 70 minutes ago. I'm going to try and do a stream every day just for a little while to see what happens. Maybe for a week or so, just tune in with you guys. And thanks so much for you people who are tuning in week after week. Or if you're watching this now, if you're one of the people watching this now, thank you so much because it is quite fun to answer questions, engage with the community, and also we can talk on Discord and I don't know, just help some people out. Your questions, you might not know it. You might have a question that you ask that also might help someone else as well, or that someone else might learn something like, yeah, that was a good idea. Okay. Blob the Cron is talking about this. You can sit on your couch. He's talking about this thing right here, which you can sit on your couch and fly around like it's a video game. Absolutely. We have challenge accepted at UAV Futures. I have crazy fast Traxxas cars, and I was thinking about FPVing them. Yeah, so that was the problem. We had like this full. We started to have to design a roll cage on top of our FPV cars because we had it in a car that was just. It was like I don't know what you call it, backflipping almost when you gave it too much throttle. It was not suitable to FPV whatsoever. Pigo XXC says you'd be a good teacher. Well, who knows? Hopefully my kids did enjoy my class. I remember sometimes though, I didn't always put their learning first. Sometimes I just wanted to have fun and things like this would be the example. All the kids, this is where derailing the stream here. We're going into old school teaching days, but the kids are all there doing their reading. It's like silent reading time. They're reading their books or I don't know, whatever. Independent reading, sorry, is what we were meant to call it. And I built like this little FPV. No, it wasn't FPV. It was like a little quad that had a little rope and a peg that would hang down below. And I would attach like a certificate to it that would say, good work, Jimmy, for doing such good reading today and choosing an appropriate book. And then, I'd plug my little Lipo in and I'd fly it over to their desk. And so the whole class was meant to be silent reading. And then all of a sudden you see landed on their desk and the kid would unplug it and put it in their pocket or whatever they used to do with these stupid certificates, which were completely arbitrary, but the kids liked them. And then I'd fly it back and I'd go back to reading whoever I was doing some work with, things like that, which I really enjoyed doing. The kids loved it, but of course things like that were fun but obviously very distracting as well. So I don't know, when I think about my teaching days, hopefully the kids enjoyed it, but sometimes I think it probably would have been better. The kids would have learned more if they were just doing some normal reading anyway. Okay, let's have a look here. Mystic Gamer, could someone let me know how to turn off the receiver on the radio link AT9S? I actually, if you do know that, please answer that question for him. And what simulator to use and save some batteries. So, you want to use the simulator and save some batteries. So I don't know how to do that with the AT9S, but that is something that a lot of people don't know and shout out to Malice because I know he did this all the time. When you want to connect your drone to Betaflight, you can actually just plug it. When you want to fly the sim, if your radio can't directly hook up to USB, you still can plug in your drone to Betaflight and then power your drone on. And then when you can turn your radio on and use the drone actually as the connecting device between your computer, the drone, and your radio, if you want to use it to fly around on a sim. Let's have a look here. Here's a few questions. Props off has given me some thumbs up, having a drink and a punch. So fist pump, thank you very much. The problem is it's 5 a.m. here in South Africa. Okay, that's getting fairly early. I am definitely not an early sort of person. Raymond Mitchell, can we see you fly on DCL? How are your times going? You know what? I haven't flown that enough. So it is a super fun sim, but I just haven't been on there that much lately. Isaac NHO at UAV Futures. Hi, Stu. Any tips on safely disposing tied old lipos? Yeah, but they're not ideal tips. So, I know Nurk did a video where it said, don't do this. And he's hitting a lipo with an axe. That's kind of how I dispose of my lipos. I take them out to a safe, controlled environment where it's on a big concrete slab, and then I just chop them up, pour some water on them to really make sure the chemical reactions go off and try and disperse as much energy as I can. They'll smoke up, they'll flare up, whatever. It's no biggie, but I know then all the energy is out, and I leave them there for a couple of days just cooked dead on the concrete. That's how I dispose of them. Some people say that's unsafe, so I'm not saying that you should do that, but that's how I dispose of my lipos, but that doesn't mean you should dispose of them. Maybe you want to chop them off, chop the leads off, and throw them in some salty water, and whatever you want to do. Those ways. Maybe you want to put an LED light bulb on there and solder that in and let it dispose of that way. But I ain't got time for that. I'm just going to chop them with an axe. Thank you. Okay, at UAV Futures, challenge accepted. He's saying he's laughing out loud. Independent reading is still what they call it in high school in the US. Yeah, it's pretty much like, kids, just shut up and read a book, please. Joe Reagan is saying, at UAV Futures, I haven't watched the build videos on your channel yet. They say racing drone, but would they be a good freestyle drone too? Yeah, that's it. So these drones, that you can do whatever you like with them, whether they be racing or freestyle. So you can't put you couldn't really put a GoPro on this specific one, but racing, it's going to be almost identical to freestyle, especially for your beginner kit. So whether you're looking at Nazgul bind and flies, whether you're looking at the $99 builds, racing drone is just the term we had to use to clarify that this isn't a slow camera platform. That's how it kind of started, back in 2015 and stuff. We were saying racing drone because if you just said I'm flying drones around FPV, people thought of like these huge, big, slow moving things. So yes, watch some of those build videos. You absolutely can freestyle with them. And the only real difference is the frame. You can take all those components that are in there and put them on a racing frame, or you can put them on a more freestyle suited frame. And the difference is racing frames are lighter, more aerodynamic. A freestyle frame are usually a little bit heavier, a little bit more robust, and also offer some place to put your HD GoPro recorder or something like that on the top. Captain Kirk wants me to hold this one up. So yeah, this is coming up. Check out the quality of this print. Hopefully, come on, get in focus here. This is one of the nicest prints. This probably is. I really need. It's been sitting here. I seem to hold this up every single stream, but yeah, that thing is coming. All right, let's have a look. Scrolling around. The racing drones, brought back memory, challenge accepted. Brought back memories from before they shut down school. Yep. Well, you know what? I kind of, if I was a teacher at school now, I don't know if I'd be enjoying it or not, because I don't know what the workload is like now. Back in the day, it was quite a lot, but one of my best ever teaching days was when they said, hey, Stu, school's closed, it got rained out and kind of flooded. I was about to go to work. I was like, awesome. That's great. Theodore Ruth, Jumper T16 won't buy into King Kong E125. Any idea why? Do you have the correct protocol selected? That would be my only thing. So if you've got, is it on Free Sky, Fly Sky, whatever your King Kong E is, make sure you've got it set up to the correct protocol inside your Jumper T16. But if it's not that, I don't know actually. Boxy189 is saying, are there still free sims? I want to teach my 5-year-old. And no, not that I know of, but I think the FPV Air V2 is about $5 Australian. So that's about as cheap as it gets. So if you want to jump on there and try that thing out. Let's have a look here. Oh, Daniel Moloch, it's the opposite to what you were saying. It is the opposite to what you were saying. It is to send video from your computer to your goggles for sim saying. Ah, okay. I got you. Sorry. I thought, so this is what we're talking about before. That would have been driving me crazy if I had built a project and then someone had it completely backwards. So this is what we were talking about before. So this is made to send video from your computers to your goggles for sim flying. All right. So if you have some old school goggles that maybe don't have a HDMI input, you can send this in there. So that's a nice little rig up, because how much did this cost? Let me know. What was the price, the whole price rig of this bad boy? I know advanced goggles can do this. You can just plug in a HDMI cable, but not everybody can do that. Alrighty. So, Brian Brandt, greetings from Pittsburgh. Thanks for tuning in, bro. What is the time over there? Theodore wants to know, Ben, where are you? Challenge accepted at your futures. There's actually a free sim never used, but it's simply called FPV Drone Simulator. Okay, so there you go. If you want a free sim, And what sims are you what sims are you actually flying around, Daniel, as well? Seeing you've put this thing up, and is it improving your flying? And here's a good one. What do you think, or what does anybody think when they fly their sims in the goggles versus opposed to watching the screen? I know when I tried it, what I used to do was sometimes I would put my goggles on and I would just point my drone at the TV screen or at the computer screen. But that was one of the few times when I actually felt like I got motion sickness from doing that. Okay, Dax. Hey, back again. Just saying hello. I dropped my bang god from 148 feet. That's about 45 meters. Good times, good times. Stay safe and good night. Good night to you, Dax, as well. Hopefully, that drone's going to be in better shape next time. Kevin Hilburn, any advice for meeting local Boston? So shout out to the Boston drone people during social distancing. Most of my Googling has only found commercial drone clubs, not FPV groups. Well, first thing, maybe you need to start that group. Maybe you need to be the person who's like, I'm in Boston, I'm flying around. You could put something in New Pilot Hangouts, maybe over on my Discord and say, hey, is anyone, I mean, you know what, I need to have a channel that is called, Meet Pilots or something like that, so we can search by country and state. I'll put that on my to-do list behind the 100 other things that I should really be doing. But there we go. So if you're in Boston, jump over to, there we go, right now. Let's have a look. What do I say? New Pilot Hangout. Jump over to here on my Discord. Do a post if you're near there, around the bottom. Boston. And there's timestamp for you guys, so you should be able to have a look right there. So, but advice on meeting people, yeah, start your own group. If there's no one there, you start it around first, and then maybe some other people might find your page and then meet up for a fly. FPV free. Oh, yeah, that's right. And Ethan is saying FPV free rider. There is a demo, but the demo is pretty much the same. So if you want to get the demo of that sim, FPV free rider, you don't need to upgrade to get the full version. I think it's all you're still going to learn just as much on just the demo. 11:20 p.m. That's where Brian Barnes is. That stupid mouse. I hate it when I scroll and it jumps down like way too far. All right. I can see Ben answering some questions. Thanks very much, Ben. Daniel. Yep. Okay. So Daniel's device is saying, didn't like having the cable hanging off my goggles. Cost is probably around $50 AU depending on the VTX used. I've been running DCL Velocidrone, Liftoff, and FPV Air 2. Do you find you get motion sickness at all there, Daniel? So that's something that I'd be interested to know with as well. Challenge accepted. Did you say earlier that I can use Betaflight with a battery on to use my transmitter with a SIM instead of the cord for my transmitter? Yes, you can do that. That's correct. So you don't need to connect your radio directly up. If your radio doesn't work by USB, you can connect. You can just fly. Turn your drone on. Make sure you put a fan on it or unplug the VTX, but you can connect up that there, and you should be able to connect up to the sim and fly around. Raven, shout out to him. Congrats on the 190K. So cheers very much, Raven187. Very much appreciated, mate, in these times for that super chat. If you've got some other questions too, throw them in. I will answer them. But yeah, 190,000 subscribers. It's kind of crazy to think that there's even that many pilots in the world and that many people who enjoy my videos. It's very, very humbling, especially because I feel like my FPV world is quite small in terms of the people I know in real life. I've met a few people in this hobby, especially being on this side of the planet in Australia, but I haven't been to the US. We haven't done like crazy TV things. It hasn't been huge professional races. We haven't had all these companies behind us and sponsoring our videos and, telling us to do whatever we need to do and shipping us overseas and filming things. It is literally just me and my friends flying around in the park and sharing that with you guys. And I feel like that's the same as what you guys are doing. It's just we're pointing a camera at ourselves. So it means a lot to me that so many people enjoy these videos. So thanks very much, Raven. We're getting a little bit sentimental there. Greg Ramus at UAV Futures. It's another super positive one. Thanks for sharing all the knowledge over the years. I'm sure you have already explained, but where is the wall of fame with all the quads? So look, I still have some of those quads. Lots have been shipped off, but what I wanted to do when I moved to this studio was, I guess, just have a little bit of a change up for that 2019. Maybe I'll, rebuild a quad wall in the future, but it was very distracting. So for me, when I was talking to her, it started off, I had the quad wall. So when people would watch my videos, they'd be like, okay, maybe this guy has some idea of what he's talking about. I mean, look at those drones. He must have some experience with them. And then it progressed into like, this wall is ridiculous and it's too distracting. That was all that was behind me. And then I wanted to just simplify it down. And when I was talking about a product or if I was reviewing something, I wanted the attention to be on that there so we could focus on what people would do. Sorry, my Steam account just popped up. Jono is playing Monster Hunter World. Thanks very much for interrupting my stream and train of thought there, Jono. But yeah, I felt like it was distracting. So that's why the quad wall is no longer the background of the videos. Okie dokie. So, Ben, mate, you are smashing at answering these questions there. So, huge shout out to Ben. Awesome mod. Dodgy's answering a lot as well. And let's have a look. Free. Okay, license to drive is saying the demo of FPV Freerider has purposely bad rate settings, make it difficult to fly this on purpose. So make sure, but it's to make sure your hardware can run it. Okay. More people talking about the Sims. Daniel's saying no motion sickness, but I switch between goggles and monitor to give my face a rest. That is a good idea. Yeah, that was the only thing I found when I was flying around a sim with goggles. It's the only time I've ever had motion sickness. And Brian Brans, your vids helped me through a hard time personally. No worries, brother. I'm glad that I could be there for you in some way, shape, or form, because that's another thing that's amazing about this hobby. For me, a lot of time, I don't know about the correct mental health term, but it's called mindfulness is the way I know it. It's just a way for me to zone out. Some people like to go for runs. Some people, I don't know what they do, read a book or do some meditation. That's not really for me. But when I have the goggles down, it really is a form of being free and just coasting around. You can't think of anything else. You're not stressed about anything else that's going on. And yeah, I'm glad that my videos and this hobby were able to help you through that. So I know, and you're definitely not alone, because there's so many people where FPV has changed their life. And another thing I really try to do on this channel as well is just focus on the positives. Too many people get caught up. I know FPV actually does have a lot of drama associated with it. There's a lot of haters out there that seem to love to, I don't know, tear each other down or have little silly feuds and things like that. But for me, that's not what FPV is about. Life's too short to worry about those people. And look, sometimes those things do get me down, but I don't want to, there's no need to make videos about that or any of that sort of stuff. I just want to help people share the fun, the passion, and yeah, if I could help you do that, it goes both ways, mate. Both ways. The pleasure's been all mine, absolutely. But thank you for that kind comment. Okay, let's have a look. At U of A Futures, someone asked for a shout out for his boys earlier. Let me have a look here. Is that you, Dodgy? I'm not sure what's going on here with that message. FPV is life. That's from Roscoe6. Distracted while talking about being distracted. Is that what I was doing? Talking about Jono? Yes. Younger Buckets at UA Futures. When I'm flying around the sim, and I'm about to go have some lunch in a second as well. So make sure we throw some questions down if you desperately need something answered. We've been streaming for 88 minutes. When I'm flying around on the DRL sim and the PIDs don't feel good for me, should I try and change or just steer clear and not mess with anything? Well, I'd say if you got nothing to lose. I mean, if you're flying around on the sim, it's not like it's a real drone. It's not going to crash and burn or anything like that. It's going to cost you real money. So if you want to change the PIDs on the sim, do it. Take a photo of it before you do, so you can easily revert back if you don't like it, if it doesn't have an auto revert setting or default setting, and then you should be fine. Alrighty-o. Russ Wolf. Okay, there's a few inside jokes going there. I already gave you a shout out, Russ. You were right at the start of the video. There you go, brother. And would this be worth it? Stick replacements for the novice transmitter. Ethan M, would this be worth it? I saw they added stick replacements for the Novice 1 transmitter. Would that help, or is it just the transmitter and the settings? Yeah, the stick replacements, they're going to make it a little bit better, but for that Eachine Novice kit, it's not going to be that good. Sorry, Younger Buckets was talking about changing PIDs in Betaflight on my real drone. I think you're much better off just updating to the latest versions rather than messing around with the PIDs too much. And you can try it, but make sure you take a photo so you can revert back to it. If you're going to change your PIDs in real life, make sure you've got some way of being able to go back if you mess it up too badly. Okay. Roscoe Stitz, what's your email, mate? UAFutures at gmail.com, I'm pretty sure. It's also in my about page. Dodgy is saying... okay. No worries. A huge shout out to Cage FPV as well. And can you shout out Dimebag and Cage? So, okay, big shout out to Dimebag and Cage. Hope you're enjoying this stream. Hunter Cookie, have you tried one of those transmitting power amplifiers? I have not, and I believe that might be where we might call the stream, boys, because I'm going to jump in. I'm going to quickly have a chat to Blow Up the Cron because it has been far too long. I keep missing him. Every time I finish this stream, I go make something to eat because this is usually when I have lunch and I come back and he has disappeared. I'm going to jump in there, have a quick chat to him, and I will chat to you guys in a little bit. So... all right, and I can see people talking about that Boston link in the Discord as well. So that is here. If you're interested, the Discord link is up there as well. If you want to subscribe to my Patreon, peoples, well, it is greatly appreciated. Even that $1 a month, if you enjoy these videos, well, I don't know, if you enjoy the content and you're not a Patreon supporter, it would be hugely appreciated. And a huge shout out to the people who are Patreon supporters, because I couldn't do this this channel now without your support, and especially at times like this when it's kind of crazy. I can't get outside at the moment to make a review video. I can't do my normal job because I'm forced to stay inside and I don't get any help from the government. So it does kind of suck in the situation that I'm in. But we're trying to make the most of it. And if you can help, it is hugely appreciated. But even if you're just one of those people, if you can't help and you're not in that situation, just watching the videos and with your kind comments, that's also very, very nice of you. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Huge shout out to everybody who put a question in. I am going to do another stream reminder for tomorrow. I've been enjoying these streams and it's a great way just to check in with you guys and kind of find out what's happening. And so make sure you hit that little reminder button so when we roll around tomorrow, we can all catch up and have a bit of a chat. So anyway, on that, subscribe for more FPV related content. I'm about to go say hello to Blow Up the Cron, and then yeah, just make some lunch after that. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, thanks, Raven. He posted my Patreon in there. Thanks very much, brother. Too easy. And a big shout out to all the mods who helped with this. So I noticed they were answering a heap of questions. Kind of answering the questions before I could get to them. You're doing too good a job there, mods. Anyway, happy flying. I've got to find out how to end this thing too. This is all learning. Too easy. And are you sure you want to end the stream? Yes, please.